We are going to be talking about the Microsoft Word screen layout. But before we do that, let's first of all know how to execute Microsoft Word. Just like every other application, you can just come to this place. You see the Microsoft Word is here. Or better still, you go through the program. When you go through the program, you wait for it to display. Once it displays, you now look for Microsoft Office. Choose Microsoft Word. You click on it and it will load and display this area. Now once it displays this area, we have different options which you can use to execute Microsoft Word. You can either start as a blank file or you choose from the templates. These are templates. There are different templates there. Okay, let's go back. Don't save. When we go there, going on Microsoft Word again, we go through the process again. Now, like I said, we have different templates here which you can work with depending on what you want to design. If you want to prepare a certificate, for instance, in Microsoft Word, you can use different of their samples given. You just use the create and open. Something went wrong. Okay, let's go back and check another template, but that would have been a good template, you know. I loved it. So we can easily go with this. Something went wrong. File down. Okay, that means we need an internet connection to download those ones. So but let's make use of the initial ones. Let's see if this one can go. There's something. So what about this? Alright, this will come with different template version that you can work with. Now since we don't want to work with all those things, we just want to work with a blank document, we use this option to work with a blank document. Now this first thing appearance that you see is called the visual layout of Microsoft Word, and in the course of the visual layout of Microsoft Word, you can say it is the first thing that displays once you execute Microsoft Word. And in the screen layout here, or the visual layout, we have what we call the title bar. The title bar contains the name of the file, which is document 4 for instance here, and the name of the application, which is word processing. It is also from this point, the title bar, that you can minimize, maximize, or close Microsoft Word in this area. Then we also have other options like the save. These are just short icons that can lead us to anywhere we want to go in Microsoft Word. Then we have the menu bar. All these menu options has different pans that we can choose from. You can call it a pen, you can call it a pan, depending on the country where you are and the way you pronounce it. So they have different of them, which we are still going to discuss at length at the course of studying Microsoft Word. Then we have the standard toolbars. In the standard toolbars, for instance, we have different things there which you can be working with. So any bar, let's see if the bars are complete or not. Okay, now Then we have the ruler. This is the ruler that tells you where the margin starts and where the margin stops. Then we have the navigation, which you can call it the scroll bar. This is the scroll bar. We have the horizontal, we have the vertical, but the horizontal is not appearing here because we haven't opened any testing. But now let's widen it so that you can see the horizontal. This is the horizontal. Alright, so we also have the status bar. This is a status bar that has the word count that shows the process of checking for errors, then tells you the page numbers or the number of pages you're working upon. It also gives you different views like the read mode, the print layout, and the web layout mode. Now, what is this title bar called? And how do we use them to work? Now, we also have the workspace, being this white area where you typeset your document. And that is the area where you prepare your document in Microsoft Word. So this is why it is called the document window, or you call it the workspace. Now there are standard procedures for document organization. Normally, if one is faced with a documentation activity, there are steps to follow in order not to produce a substandard document. And what are these steps? The first thing you do is what we did now. We executed Microsoft Word. Executing Microsoft Word means to open Microsoft Word, which we did. Then, after you just executed it, it is advisable that you go straight to the start button, to the file menu, click on save, specify the location, and give it a file name. Maybe let's say exercise, for instance. Then we click on, we specify where you want it to be saved. It's already a document. Then you click on save. Okay. Then after you might have saved the document, the next thing you're expected to do is to adjust your page layout. Now, to adjust the page layout, you come to page layout option. Adjusting page layout involves choosing the paper size or the page size. By default, normally A4 is the normal paper we use in printing, but in case you want to print with any other paper type, you can specify that. Now you can determine how many columns you want to work with in your document. That's going to do these things in details, but this is just making you to know things that you're expected to know before you start it. Then you can also specify whether you want it to be landscape or portrait. Likewise, the margin, you can set the margin to any form you want it to be. This is what we mean by adjusting the page layout. Now the next thing you have to do is to now enter your data, type in what you have to organize. Now let's say we are typing something, for instance, word processing is the process of using the keyboard, the keys on the keyboard to prepare letters, characters, words, lines, paragraphs, pages, chapters, and books. Now let's say full stop. Maybe let's just highlight everything and get let's just get documents. That's copying and pasting. That's what I'm doing. Copying and pasting. Copying and pasting just to make a document. Now let's assume we've done our documentation. These are the tests we've presented. Save at regular interval at one of the suggested procedures. As you are typing your document, endeavor to pressing Ctrl S on the keyboard. That is to enable you save at regular interval. Now edit the document. Now what you do is you edit the document, check for grammar or spelling errors, punctuation, and even alignment. Alignment in the sense that you can come and make your alignment to justify to the left, to the right, to the center, to the right. So, but normally documents are justified. You specify the size, font size precisely. So you specify the font size. Then another thing you do is formatting it by modifying and arranging the document, which you can just give it the line spacing, maybe 1.5. Maybe we use the indent paragraph, and so this is for instance what we are doing. Then save and create backup copies. What they say, save and create backup copies, it means saving in an external device for in case your system crashes on the process. Then we have print draft hard copy. You print a copy that you can use your pen to make adjustment, to make correction. The correction that you finally, that is in form of proofreading your document. That's what it means. Then when you proofread your document, then you now do what we call, the next step is editing draft hard copy. Those changes you made on pen and paper, you can easily come here and correct them where necessary. Then finally, you print out the edited copy. This is how you walk around with your document. Now, another thing you need to know about is editing. We can say that it is a careful, we can say it is a careful activity employed in the process of organizing a document that requires going through document line upon line, comma, idea upon idea, to avoid error. Now you can edit your documents in several ways, by even putting a page break. Page break is going from one page to another, which you can press Ctrl Enter to achieve that. You can insert paragraph organization, just like choosing where you want and making a particular format you want, or use the tab on the keyboard to adjust the first line paragraph. Another thing I want you to know is the formatting. Formatting is one of the concluding stage in document organization. It is simply a process of arranging and modifying documents to look attractive and meet the standard of documentation. And one of the formatting process is justification. Just like this is, it is justified. You make sure your lines are justified. Justification of line. Control. For instance, these are the justification of lines. We have this option here is justify. Ctrl J to make it justified. Then line and paragraph spacing. Now when we come to this place, already we gave it 1.5. we can choose to extend the line. This is line spacing, for instance. You can still go to line spacing option to make further adjustment of your lines. You can make any indentation you want or not. So you can choose first line or hanging, so depending on the one you want to choose. Again, you can choose the line and page break options where they say Windows Orphan Control, keep with next. These options we're going to go in details by the time we are walking through the main document we are working about. But you have to know that these things that we are saying here are the things you need to know before being a document organizer. Now, another thing you need to know is the paragraph style. You choose paragraph style. Make sure you use consistent paragraph style. It's not when you use index in the first one, you come to the last one, you start using another thing. Make sure you use consistent paragraphing. Then the use of font. Make sure you use a readable font. When you're preparing a document, choose a font that people can easily see, not fonts that are not that visible. This will help you to understand what make people read your work easy. So these are the basic introductory aspects of the visual layout of word processing.